What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. We don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
And move we shall after another skit, but I want to go on ahead and say hi everyone. My name's David, you can call me Zen, and welcome back to another episode of Talesofarise. In the previous episode, we made our way to Lenegis after a lot of conversation with our teammates. Like, a lot of conversations with our teammates. This time, we're gonna watch the skit and then investigate where the Forbidden Zone is. So why don't we go ahead and get started?
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well,
Makes you say that?
this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But
yes.
then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration to avoid all this chaos.
Also, yes.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
So why do they have people living in the area that gets, like,
Weird, huh?
morphed?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure.
Also,
Something
Rare,
tells me
Renwell, and
answers where we're
Shion
going.
skit?
Yeah.
It just took me a second to realize that, yeah, Rare, Renwell's Shion skit. Alright. So, if I remember correctly, yeah, we arrived on Lenegis, and, I know for certain that Shion and Dolahim are supposed to be doing all the talking here in a moment. If only because, they're Renans, and if, Fancy Parfait...
Everything will be
Fancy
okay now.
Parfait? But, they're Renans, and if they see, you know, the, Danans here, they probably would act a little funny.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands.
Interesting.
Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it
His
unnecessary
Highness?
for
Is that
us
the
to
original
know.
sovereign? So,
We have
Balron?
no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris?
Yes. Yes, you
I
do.
believed he was on Dana.
He
Your eyes do
returned.
not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit.
I'm glad that the Renans kind of follow that
Sovereign's
systematic
plans
thing
are
where they don't
inscrutable
question
indeed.
anything. Because this would be such an awkward explanation to give to a regular
The
citizen.
Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that nobody has a clue as to what's going on. I do want to head over here first, because I saw this chest. Which has strawberries? You know, I'll never understand the whole notion behind, like, fruit in chests, because under most circumstances, I'm pretty sure they probably would have rotted away by now, you know? But it is what it is.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I
I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned.
Oh, dang.
I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
I'd like to say, I wonder if Renans can't see her.
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
Oh, that's also that's a good
I've
question.
never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just that Renans can't see her. Because that would make some sense? Asterisk? I don't know why the asterisk has to be there. I just wanted to do that.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
Yeah.
I
It looks like just the entire city fell apart due to the shifting of
Stay
Lenegis.
here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
Towards the Forbidden Zone, maybe?
You know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last
I love that they addressed my full name. Lord Dohalim
Yes,
Ilkaris.
strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it.
So I'm guessing that's probably where we're gonna head towards the Forbidden Zone.
Different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
The story will dictate it's the way to the Forbidden Zone.
I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
Well, they said they've lost control of the Zoogles, so it's probably not going to be safe, but you know.
Someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Dohalim would have been a great victor of the crown contest,
Why,
I
yes,
think.
my lord. Thank
Once
you.
learning, like, what he did in the initial arc that we found him in.
Canvass the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
Because Dohalim would
You'd think
technically
that
be the
info
winner.
would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, like it's like
That
another,
one guy even
like,
said his Zoogle
Tuesday,
and
like
stuff
living in a Marvel
listening to him.
movie.
If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
Okay, so who's the sovereign that we're going to be meeting with?
I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
Because it would have been
The Sovereign,
Volron.
of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
Yeah,
The points
that's
you make are valid.
Law's a
though
good.
I
That's
confess
what
I'd never
Law's
given
thoughts
it
were my
much thought
thoughts.
before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
See, that's actually a really good
I
question.
haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has
I
ever
wonder if
been
Rena's
there?
uninhabitable.
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
Okay,
But what about
that's
trade and
interesting.
communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought
Interesting.
you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
Then he doesn't care. Either he doesn't care or he won't know.
Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony.
And Volron had the same
Sovereign is also
power.
the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign, though it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point,
Okay, I'm glad that they finally brought it up because you guys have heard me like times I can mention Volron. Like,
I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
I
Do
see.
you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
It's possible.
Can't say for sure.
We don't know where his body
Sounds
is, so
like
he might still actually be alive.
That
Maybe
would
the
mean
sovereign
two
power
sovereigns
keeps
would
him
need to exist at
alive?
any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganeth Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second.
It's possible.
You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma, the same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's
Yes.
something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me.
So did Volron know that
Questions and
Xion was a
more
maiden?
Questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
All right,
It's
we have an
decided.
objective.
That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction.
Or it is the right direction.
Let's go find it.
All right, I'm glad that we kind of established everything. All right, Lenegis citizen. Oh, Wasn't expecting an immediate cutscene.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
All right.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
So because you rescinded your title, does that
Even if
mean
the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I
Okay.
wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now.
Honestly, they probably wouldn't care.
Joseph, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
That they were bad and we needed their cores, so we didn't really get a full understanding of what was going on.
Yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
See, Law and I are on like a spiritual connection right now.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, they probably would have just loved a normal, like, more nobility-esque life. But instead they were kind of maintaining slaves down in Dana, so.
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals?
So do we have side quests here then? Is that what they're
Lord
trying
in their
to
household
imply
has
here?
their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
I see. Renans and their lords. What an interesting way to start a side quest. That's not bad. Alright, so we do have a side quest here and we do have the path here. I do think that maybe taking the time to flesh out a little bit of the Renan lore might be a good idea right now. And then we'll go enter the area probably by the end.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind. them too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
Because they're
It
all
is the way
probably
things
fully
have always been,
conditioned.
so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible
Probably because
to
they
build
just
an
consider
ideal
themselves
society
better
without
on
wealth.
average, so that they deserve to
But I
live
suppose
better
having it
on
doesn't always
average.
mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still
There's
too
still
early
problems
say
here to
anything
fix,
for
I
sure.
think.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
I'll say these skits about like the story, and kind of expanding on it are so good. I love them.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
Oh no, rare Dohalim
You know,
lost
when you're
skit.
talking to people around town, the way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look
Oh.
imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
That's victim
So
blamey.
there is a knack to it. How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Shut up,
Me
Law.
curious. Is there special training to master?
Oh my god.
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be
This is so
old-fashioned, too.
cringe.
Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Oh, they're so silly.
What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
Look at Hoodle.
I can barely understand a word they're saying.
And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
Oh my
I wasn't
god.
expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so great. All right, let's talk to the townsfolk. Let's get some lore. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out canvassing for someone? I'm with His Excellency Erosly Teledis. You probably know him better as Lord Balsa. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute, but believe me, I realize that he can be an aggressive man. What those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that House Tautelus doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit it. But His Excellency always stands up against any that would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house. I owe so much to His Excellency, I can never dream of serving any other lord. That's interesting.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
Yeah,
Even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
yeah. So, like, it's like to them, we were probably the bad guys. Like, even though we've been framed in this perspective that we're always gonna be good, it doesn't necessarily mean that we were making the right choice. Lord Dohalim, you returned. Ah, and I see you've brought aides with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes. Not only I support House Ilkaris, but more importantly, his lordship personally. So much so, I've been trying to share my appreciation of his lordship to anyone who will listen. Almost. There's some parallels with religion there, but I'm not going to dive too far into that. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings on the subject through this very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I haven't been able to upload them. I know. Since you're all here, I'll just read them aloud. Ahem. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed House Ilkaris, and his name Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion, the arts his great love, The scores of boorish, uncouth men of this land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic is his posture, why the mere thought of it brings me to ecstasy. Ecstasy. I can read, I promise. Once he becomes our sovereign, Rena shall bloom anew, ushering in a new era of prosperity for a grand civilization. Until that day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Huh. Huh. That is right. That was a lot of words. Well, what do you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to append it. Only then will my masterpiece be complete. That was the speech.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more
Yeah.
to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Don't leave the I shall refrain from commenting. So silly. Well, I never. To think anyone would tear me away from House Valkyris. What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreaded Lord Almedria, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House Valkyris for generations. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Ganabel behind the scenes so that he may emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny he can be strict, he puts Rena's interests front and center like no one else. Why, he activates that rather than stay confined to Lenegis, we should get on it with colonizing Diana and expand our horizons. That way, we will become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on the Dana surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power for the advancement of all of our kind. It is what makes him an exemplary lord, model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my two sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with endless pride. Tongue got twisted there towards the end.
Horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that
Remember,
seem just
a switch of
little
perspective is all you need. Okay, so I don't think there's anybody else here that supports the lords.
I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as.
Because yeah, we don't have an Almedria supporter just quite yet.
Also had people who
So we need to head over to the other side.
Why couldn't he
Okay.
extend that to us Danans?
So one thing I do want to comment on, by the way, is that Lenegis' music is fantastic. It's definitely something that I could see myself listening to over and over. All right, so we have two more people.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed,
Yeah.
The effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here.
But yeah, Lenegis is really
Another way,
great
this area
looking.
was simply luckier.
But yeah, could you imagine just living in an area that like doesn't get ravaged because they're lucky? Must be nice. This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Canaris. I ask that you must depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled by the esteemed Lord Almedria. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theories as to why this might be, but Lord Almedria quashed the doubts of any naysayers through sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and the previous family master, she also removed herself, her older brother to claim the seat for herself. She's a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives her enemies nary the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Almedria is a woman of talent. No one in Rena better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's mediocrity. Soon, the age of a glorious woman sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last. So much dialogue.
I guess her willingness
Not
to
enough
stoop
time.
any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some
Okay,
people
this should be
say
the last
all
person. This is a Volrun. This would have to be a Volrun supporter as a result, right?
championed it as morally
Ridiculous.
How loathsome. Oh, I was just reading about Volrun. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was an ardent supporter of Lord Orwalgo Hildress myself, were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Orago is the true Water Lord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident like they said. As for how Volron runs Ganatharos, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Danans, but even his fellow Renans. We may live in a society where the victor goes to spoils, but his actions go against what we as a people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this house of Ignisari of his anyway? I've never heard of it until he came along, which means they must have been among the lowest dregs of society. That such ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is so unheard of. None of it makes any sense, not to mention all the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
So he really did come out of
I
nowhere.
remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganatharos changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
Yeah. So we can actually,
When you think
like,
about it,
surmise
families
something.
of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
It's interesting to get another perspective like this.
Carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive.
Which makes
But their
sense.
loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lord.
Because they were crazy.
That's what makes them the
They were
guardians
crazy
of
down
all
there.
Renna, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all people, too.
Exactly.
Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Volron's the only
Yeah,
one that
but
we have
still,
kind of a bit of a question
just
mark
because they
on.
had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean.
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that.
But at the same time, it adds just another
they
layer to
weren't
them.
incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us.
Yeah,
So
your actions dictate
what I'm
how people
trying to
perceive
say
you,
is-
not necessarily the fact that you're like
saying
Rena
they
or
weren't bad
Danon
because
yourself.
They were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
See? Rinwell understands.
Am I wrong?
Did she blush a little bit?
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one.
We've seen so much
I
of
think
that
that's
now.
something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing
And
my
then,
best to make sure
I can't
earn
remember his
that
name,
trust.
but the
As a
Danon
fellow
one,
human being above
with
all else.
Almadria, makes the case in the opposite direction. So, 5100 gold to 20 SP. Don't mind if I do. Okay, let me set the story focus to... I guess we just have to walk around until we find the Forbidden Zone, I guess. Don't mind me then. I think that kind of sucks is that there's no store.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right?
Yes.
In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former Lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
Okay.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current
Not the
ruler of Rena?
whatchamacallem.
The last I heard,
I love
yes.
that they like had the
Though
subtitle for it and
admittedly,
everything.
I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom,
Okay.
maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
So something happens
That
once
never
someone becomes
struck you as
sovereign.
a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
Yeah.
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. meaning
Oh,
each
so someone's
victor
gonna
is
have the
awarded
power
their
of
very
all
own.
the elements
In
whenever
other words,
whatever
if
we
that's
fight,
true,
whatever sovereign,
there
right?
should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
We're about to find some horror movie crap.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No
Okay.
use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
And I agree with Law, but I think that we should get a move on next time because we're kind of approaching the 30-minute mark anywho, and there's not even any major cuts or anything like that. All right, thank you guys also very much for watching. Next time, we're going to keep going. Hopefully, we'll find the Forbidden Zone. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you guys go ahead and like, subscribe, you know, the usual YouTuber actions, I'd appreciate it. It pushes my stuff out more so more people can find it. So, thank you all again, and I'll see you guys all next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day.